hopefully we make it up this hill. This is sort of the last big hill, and then we're up on the mountain. It's been misfiring all the way home. So I've locked it in second gear, and hopefully I think it's a fuel thing. We just put new fuel in it and stuff. I think there must be some moisture in the fuel or something. It's intermittently missing, but if I keep the revs up, it seems to be better. Alright, we made it up the hill. Now it's just a little bit longer. Welcome back to Living with a Classic, and specifically daily driving a classic, where I tried to daily drive this 1975 XJ6 and things happen. Once again, this was a completely unexpected video. I was just going to go out for a little bit of drive and that's it. So that's why the first bit is filmed on my phone. Just got home now, thankfully, and I grabbed my camera. So if you follow along, you know that this winter I have not been daily driving this thing. I have been using my X-Type as a winter beater and just, keeping this thing off the salt. But the salt is gone now, and I thought, it's time to start driving it. So let's go to the gas station, get some fresh fuel in it. That was the plan, and then just head by the grocery store. So I did that. It ran well down to the gas station. Before I left, I checked fluid levels and everything. They were fine. When I got to the gas station, I popped the bonnet and just checked that there were no leaks. Everything looked good. And then I drove it to the grocery store. Halfway to the grocery store, this is not far at all. This is like 2 minutes. It was misfiring around 1500 RPMs. Pulled into the grocery store, but it was really, really packed and lots of people. And people don't really like when you looks like you need to work on your car. So I was like, okay, let's just go into the grocery store, get what I need, and try and make it home. I was a little nervous there. Fired straight up, and I revved it out. It revved fine. Then as I started pulling away, it started missing again. I locked it in second gear because it seemed to be better at higher RPM. So I'm like, okay, I just gotta make it home. It's uphill all the way home. It's about 7 kilometers of just uphill up the mountain. So I'm like, I don't want this thing to conk out here. Made it back, thankfully. I have popped the bonnet. I think I found the issue, or at least one issue. Let's go and have a look at it. It is extremely windy today. We have a storm. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. But you see the evidence. Coolant spray everywhere. So I'm hoping it's just a wet distributor or wet HC lead that caused, because I was just missing a cylinder sometimes. Yeah, it's all soaked down here. It's this famous cap. I actually did not have that one off. I just removed the other one and checked. Yeah, absolutely no pressure in there. It's been leaking out. And just checked that there was fluid in there. So let's relieve the pressure. Let's see how much is still left in it. It never got hot or anything. It was running fine on the gauge. But I noticed as I was pulling in, I heard air bubbles going through my heater as I was pulling in. So that gave me a clue. Oh, it's completely just sort of blown off. Could this just be the silly issue? Oh, this thing is such a pain to get off. Let me get 2 hands, get that off, and we'll have a look in there. Well, there's a little down there in the bottom, so we didn't lose that much at least. But that has sprayed all over the distributor and everything. So I've got some paper towels, so let's dry it up, fill it up, and take it for a little spin just around the block. See if it's running better, because it was just at 1500 RPMs. It was an absolute dog. I was otherwise wondering if both carb linkages are moving. The only other thing is I've had this thing stored for a bit and I've had kind of low fuel. So when I was at the gas station, I also poured in one of those additives that helps get rid of moisture out of fuel. So I was thinking I might have some dirt in the fuel. I don't have anything overflowing, nothing smells of fuel. So hopefully it was just this thing dumping coolant on my new pretty distributor. Just fired it back up, filled up with coolant again, about 2 liters or something. I took and bent the tabs on that cap a little bit, and it's a lot snugger now. So I got about a liter and a half in there. Put half a liter in there, or it's all the coolant I had at home. But so far, I think we're pretty good. I'm gonna let it run here. Oh, yeah, you see it's really windy. Just got hit by that. It's bad. I'm gonna close it, let it run here for a bit, fully warm up, and we'll take it for a spin and see if the mist is gone. But really just gotta close it. It's bad. Been idling here for about 5 minutes. No leaks so far. And if I hold 1500, it's running just fine. Let's just take it for a spin when I call it around the block. But I don't live in the city, but out here on the countryside, just so I can walk back in case something happens. But yeah, it was around 1500 RPM, so it was worse. I don't hear any noise from the heater now, core now as well, so that's good. Okay, we're at 1400 now. Let's pull in cleanly. So I don't know how well it showed up on camera, but the sort of most forward HT leads going into the cap on top of the distributor, they were soaked. There was the coolant just running off them. So I don't think it really mattered what kind of distributor or anything it was. I love this 123, it's great, but I think it was just drenched. So if it hadn't improved now, I would have just pulled the cables out and dried off, but I think it's just been drying off now. Also, it's too windy to work outside. It is extremely windy. And if you guys who own XJs, you know, these are not wind sensitive vehicles. At least here sometimes, just because we have like a big bridge between Sweden and Denmark, when we get storms, they do a thing on the radio say, you know, wind sensitive vehicles not allowed to go on the bridge. But I think right now it's so windy that they're going to close the bridge. These are not wind sensitive vehicles, but right now this thing is a wind sensitive vehicle. I'm just being pushed around the road. Let us do sort of what I was doing there, which was just, you know, from a stop sign pulling away. And I mean, yes, this thing does just need a long run, but it's running really nicely right now. And it's on 6. Yeah, it was stuttering. It was I wasn't even filming when it was at the worst, just because honestly I was just a little bit nervous because it's cold outside and I'm home alone, and I just did not feel like walking 7 kilometers home or having to sit somewhere and wait until my wife gets off work. So yeah, I just wasn't really in the mood. But then once I was halfway up that hill, I was like, you know, this would make a pretty good video, so let's start filming it. But it wasn't what issue I thought it was. I really thought it was fuel. So I thought I was gonna have to, you know, limp it home and then just sort of run it to try and get fresh fuel through it. But it seems to just have been a really bad coolant issue. I'll do a little wrap around here and then I'll let you guys know how it's running when I'm back. So it'll be about a 10-minute drive, and I think we should really know if that thing is leaking or not after the drive. Well, as you can probably see, I've made it back and it's running really well. No misses or anything, but like I said, this thing, it needs a good run, or it just needs to be used again regularly. So that is what I'm going to try and start to do next week. So it's the weekend now. I'm going to mount car seats and things, and then you can start doing the school run again and sort of start running. That's also good because that's also about just 7-8 kilometers. But on the way back, I can go on the old highway, and that's also just uphill. So that's really good for just blowing out the cobwebs out of this thing. But it's running nicely. Let me fire it back up. Settles to smooth idle and all that. So really, that cap was just not on there all the way, and it was just gushing coolant on my nice new distributor. So also someday when it's not this windy and a little bit nicer, I'm going to wash out the engine bay because everything is just sticky with coolant right now and make that look a little nicer. But yeah, unexpected daily driving a classic video, but that's a good thing about driving this thing now again, that you're going to get unexpected videos like this. I have also purchased some parts for this car. I have a spare fuel tank for the right side, so I can actually finally replace that. I've also purchased a tow bar, which I haven't decided if I'm going to fit or not. I thought it'd be kind of fun to have, because I got a boat now, just a small little boat I'm going to take down to the lake to go fishing. So that could be kind of fun to tow that with this. It's just one of those really, really small boats with a little outboard. So yeah, some other things. We got exhaust to do. I want to do something about the stereo, sort of. It's a little bit intermittent, this blaupunkt I got in here, so I gotta change something with that. And then, yeah, other things. But most of all, I'm just looking forward to driving this thing a lot more. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to follow along on Daily Driving Classic and all the other classics on the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Till next time, I'm Adam. This is Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.